Good evening. Lots of familiar faces in the audience, and you will not be disappointed. This idea to bring Rita Case back to Northwood started when we were together in Florida back in March, and she said, I really want to come back. You're going to have a proper introduction of Rita shortly, but Rita, on behalf of our trustees, our faculty and staff, it is so good to have you here at Northwood, so thank you very much for being here. So some of you have not been to the Leadership Insights, a view from the Helm in the past, so I just want to frame where these came from. Look, if we were in Detroit or New York, I'm not sure I want to be in New York right now, but if we were in Detroit or Chicago, Miami, it's actually not that difficult to pick up a phone. Imagine if you're in one of these great cities and you ask for a world leader, a recognized leader to come and speak on campus. Well, you might make that happen. In Midland, it's a little bit more difficult to get here. And so Kristen and I were having a conversation around how could we package these? And I read a book by the late James Duderstadt. He was the former president at University of Michigan and a wonderful leader. He wrote a book that I really enjoyed years ago. It was called A View from the Helm. The idea of a university president, kind of imagine looking out a window and what's it like from, in his case, his view, looking out and being at the helm. And so we took that idea and we applied it here to not just higher ed, but how do we get really incredible business leaders to come and share their insights with you? And that's where our A View from the Helm came from. So before we get too far into it, I also must honor the fact of the date today. It's November 11th, Veterans Day, and for a college that is so proud to be recognized as a Michigan Gold Star institution, serving those who have served this country, this is an important day for this institution and for all of us. And there's some sense of wonderful irony that a campus that is very proud to fly the American flag, like the southern side of this particular building, and many of you know we have 6 American flags that we stand proudly for, and we collectively say, look, the country's still a work in progress, but we're going to contribute positively to it. It's wonderful to have Rita Case here because you're going to hear in her formal introduction, she is a person who is also committed to service and making our communities more vibrant economically and socially. I'll also say that just this past weekend, if any of you had the opportunity to take part in the 56th anniversary of Distinguished Women, our celebration, I just want to frame that. Mary Ellen and I were in Dubai this summer. We went into a store, and the way you shopped in this store, you had to take these devices off the shelf, and somehow this wonderful thing called AI was helping us identify our product, purchase our products. So I held that thought, and at the same time, there was a person come up to us, and they were looking at the same devices, and they were wearing these clothing with this little patch on their chest that said Carhartt. And I thought, here I am in Dubai with someone wearing a Michigan-manufactured Carhartt product, and what it struck me was that at that moment, we're in the midst of AI. Everyone's talking about AI. And at that moment, lots of people wearing Carhartt pieces of clothing. What they don't remember is that in 1889, when Mr. Carhartt started that company, he just simply had a dream, and he was going to do something different than other people. And most people don't know that it was back in the 1950s at Dartmouth College when 6 scientists got together for the first time when they coined this thing called artificial intelligence. So you see, it's really easy to talk about these things when they've reached their peak. It's really hard in the early days. And this institution, as I look out to all of you, look, I love all of our students. I talk about you and brag about you all the time. But for the women in the audience, there was a time 56 years ago when this institution decided we need to do more to raise up women and honor them and put them in the spotlight and recognize their achievements and what they can do to make our communities better. It's quite common, these awards and galas today, but 56 years ago it wasn't. And your guest today is one of only a few people who have ever received two of our most distinguished awards, being recognized as a distinguished woman and also being recognized as an outstanding business leader. Her story is going to captivate you, and her energy is palpable, and you're going to remember this night for a long time. And so with those introductory comments, this is also an academic institution, and that a lot of you have heard me say before you even came to Northwood, there are two things that I recommend: to be academically focused and be socially engaged. And this is the academic focus side of things. Even if you're not in leadership and not in entrepreneurship and not in automotive, you're going to take really important things away from that. And that's why we always have an academic kind of set the tone and context. And my opportunity now is to introduce a incredible faculty member, Dr. Brett Decker. You see, as a president, I can disappear for a month and the university will keep working. Our faculty don't show up and things don't work out very well. In fact, the last thing I'll say about our faculty is that of all the parents that I've met over the years, I have never, unfortunately, never heard them say, my son or daughter went to Northwood University and they really, really like the president. Someday maybe. But it's always the faculty, and that's why it's a bit of a gift for me to introduce our speaker today. So who is Brett Decker? He was, just imagine these roles that he has played before he's taken these concepts into the classroom. Senior Vice President of the Import-Export Bank of the United States of America. Editorial page writer at the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Times. A speechwriter for the U.S. House Majority Whip Tom DeLay. Senior Vice President for the Foundation at Pentagon Federal Credit Union. And not only is he bringing expertise into the classroom, he has an incredible intellectual pedigree as well. So he's done his doctoral work at a university called USC. It's out in California. He has studied theology just south of us, a couple of hours at Notre Dame. He has studied the National Security and Strategic Studies at the U.S. Navy War College. Thank you for your service in doing that, David. He holds a master's degree from Johns Hopkins University, but he graduated his undergrad just down the road at Albion. And the thing that I love most about David, besides being a good person, I like being around polite and nice people, is what he put on his website, Why Northwood? Let me just read this and I'll hand it over to you. Why am I at Northwood? I am here because of the Northwood idea, which promises individual freedom and responsibility, a moral law, earned success, one of the most important gifts that you take from Northwood, and why you're in such, you're being recruited by so many institutions, that success comes from hard work and grit. You must earn it. Nothing comes easy. And of course, we are America's free enterprise university, so free enterprise. And he rounds it out by saying, out of almost 6,000 colleges and universities in the United States, Northwood is the only one that has liberty and business for all proudly emblazoned across its website. And that's a message that I'm excited to promote. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, my colleague, Dr. Brett Decker.
Thanks for that introduction, Mr. President. When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was play baseball, so I kicked around for about 25 years until I found Plan B. So now I'm here. First, what I want to say, I was absolutely absorbed in the history and the story of Case Automotive Group. Our customers, our friends, it's like a whole business education in a couple hundred pages. We don't want everyone to know that because we're in the business of education. We want people to continue the pursuit of knowledge here. Nevertheless, the book offers insights for how to succeed that are both tangible and intangible that overlap with our curriculum in a lot of fantastic ways. Regarding the concrete, a lot of business is recognizing and living out the obvious. A lot of what we have to think about today are things we used to take for granted, for example, supply and demand. The history of Case Automotive Group is an exemplar of not only how do we respond to the market, how do we respect the market, how do we lead the market. And I think that's an important way to look at things. Differentiation, it doesn't matter how full or how flooded a sector is. If customers will flock to you if you offer better options, including better service and a relationship of customer orientation. In relation to the more theoretical ideas I found in the history of Case Automotive Group, the role of creativity in solving problems, it's hard to believe now, I remember this, I'm in this room well, when imports had a reputation as being cheap and not so good. People didn't know, is this a piece of junk or not? Case had a bunch of creative ways of solving that, such as we're going to double the factory warranty on cars. We're going to give you a warranty of 10 years. Most people would say you're crazy to do that, but if you're trying to convince people to buy a new product one they're unfamiliar with, you have to think outside of the box. Another thing that dovetails nicely with our curriculum in the history of Case Automotive Group is the lack of fear of disruption, particularly in relationship to technology. In this day when everyone's wondering, artificial intelligence, are the robots going to kill us? Are they going to take over? We have to remember that new technology has the potential to improve quality and efficiency. Some of our competitors are going to figure out how to use new technology to their benefit. If it's not us, if we're not doing that, someone's going to eat our cake. So we need to watch out for new trends, figure out how can we make this new technology work for us. It's funny we have to say this. President McDonald, you mentioned this. When we have New York is the head of the financial sector for the whole world. When you have a socialist, a communist as mayor of the financial district that runs the entire planet, we have to remember simple things. In this room, most people are going to laugh at this, but I found this also in the story of the Case Automotive Group. Making money isn't evil. It's not an evil thing. It's proper motivation for us to work hard, come up with new products and services that others want to buy. In doing that, we make people's lives better. That gives us the motivation to help other people. One principle I saw page after page that's critically important in the book about the history of Case Automotive Group is this idea you have to believe in yourself. Sometimes no one else will. You have to have the persistence to keep pushing when things don't go your way, because they're not always going to go your way. Out in the world of business, you're going to hear no all the time. You might hear no 10 times. You have to work hard and refuse to listen to other people until you can convince them to get to yes. A neat story in the history of Case Automotive Group. In the 1960s, there's a lot of anticipation after Toyota entered the car market. There's a lot of anticipation of Honda selling cars here. The Case Automotive Group, to try to convince Honda that they were a trustworthy partner to open up one of the first dealerships, grew to owning 10 Honda motorcycle dealerships. Look what we're doing for your company. When it came to distributing the initial dealerships, Honda said, sorry, we don't want people to sell motorcycles. We want people who are used to selling new cars. The cases kept pushing and pushing, ended up buying dealerships from other people that didn't know how to run them until they convinced Honda, you have to trust us. Look what we've done for your brand already. In 1995, I left Michigan to go see the world for a few years. It turned out longer than I planned. In fact, I didn't move back to Michigan until August. Somehow, the math must be wrong, 30 years later. The only reason this is relevant is because what brought me back to Michigan was Northwood University, particularly the Northwood idea. The Northwood idea undergirds everything students learn here. The emphasis on individual freedom and responsibility, the moral law, earned success, and free enterprise offer clear right thinking at its best and at its most useful in developing future leaders. In 30 years in journalism, government, academia, and business, I rarely encountered such dedication to these foundational principles. How these principles are applied in the classroom and through hands-on experiences such as internships is a difference maker that can transform lives and careers. This is what dovetails so perfectly with what we do here at Northwood in the story of the Case Automotive Group. One of the trendy subjects in leadership education today is the concept of participatory leadership and group decision making. No doubt it is important to have a diversity of knowledge and insights to make sure we are well grounded in a subject before making a decision, but at the end of the day, the buck stops somewhere. Those who start, build, and maintain businesses, those who are at the helm, know where the buck stops. It's important to know when to rely on yourself, your knowledge, and your instincts, because sometimes you might have to override everyone else to get what you want. Another confluence between the story of Case Automotive and what we teach here is a belief that ideas have consequences, both good and bad. This is especially important in our day when there's a lot of talk about ethical leadership, but very few in leadership positions who seem willing to make the tough decisions to do what needs to be done. Bad ideas have bad consequences. Collectivism, censorship, government regulation of all types are corrosive to a healthy society and economy. Fortunately, the reverse is also true. Good ideas bring about success, growth, and a better life for individuals, communities, and organizations. In business, theory and the real world collide every day. In the hyper-competitive world, bad ideas can't last long if we want to survive and prosper. Innovative products and services, careful execution, good timing, and consideration for others lead to success. These are the ideas that make for a good business. These are the ideas that guide everything we do here. Now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce my boss, one of my bosses, as today's moderator, Dr. Kristen Stahauer, Northwood University's academic vice president and provost. She earned her doctorate in political science and international relations at Northwestern University and has completed postgraduate work in higher education at Harvard. I don't know, is it a triple wildcat? If you have three degrees from Northwestern, I don't know. It's impressive. Dr. Stahauer's scholarly work has focused on East-West relations during the Cold War, American foreign policy, and the unification of Germany. Her business career is focused on strategy formulation and implementation, and she has worked with large and small organizations, both domestic and global, spanning many sectors. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kristen Stahauer.
Thank you. Thank you, Brett, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon, both in the Griswold Lecture Hall and via live streaming. For those who are watching the live streaming, we have a full house here, and very deserved by our speaker that we have today, our guest, Rita Case. Rita Case is joining us for the 14th in our series of Leadership Insights, A View from the Helm, which has become a part of our fabric here at Northwood University. She is the president, CEO, and owner of the Rick Case Automotive Group, the nation's largest retail auto group owned and operated by a woman. The dealership group produces $2 billion in annual sales and ranks among the largest volume dealer groups nationally. The 12 dealerships are located in South Florida and Atlanta, Georgia, offering many brands and recognized for setting national volume sales records. She likes being number one. Rita's parents opened the first Honda motorcycle and car dealerships in the United States in 1959 and 1968, respectively, where Rita worked throughout grade school. After graduating from the University of California with an economics degree, she followed her passion back to her parents' dealership, where she was determined to prove that a woman could be a successful auto dealer. While managing the dealership, she met Rick at a Honda 20 group meeting in 1977. They married in 1980 and together built the Rick Case Automotive Group. Rita holds several notable board positions, such as with the Federal Reserve Bank Miami branch and Nova Southeastern University. She's received national recognition for her contributions to the automotive industry. Some of her notable honors include USA Today's National Dealer of the Year, Automotive News Outstanding Woman in the Auto Industry, and the Time Dealer of the Year Award in 2024. In recognition of her outstanding business leadership and her many honors, Rita received the 2022 Horatio Alger Award and also was named Ernst & Young's Entrepreneur of the Year. In 2011, with her husband Rick, Rita was honored as an outstanding business leader by Northwood University. She had previously received our university's Dealer Education Award in 2006 and was named a Distinguished Woman of the Year for Northwood University in 2005, as President McDonald mentioned, and is the only dual Distinguished Woman and Outstanding Business Leader honoree. Rita, together with Rick, is known for developing and leading events for nonprofit organizations that have collectively raised over $125 million to date. And counting, I'm sure. She has some big events coming right up. Their focus is supporting youth facing adversity with scholarships and educational programs, as well as supporting hospitals and health-related issues. Founded in 1982, the Rick Case Bikes for Kids has donated over 120,000 bicycles to underserved children during the holiday season. She balances her day with dealership responsibilities, community projects, and mentoring her adult children, Ryan and Raquel, who followed in their parents' footsteps in the business, and our Northwood graduates. Please join me in formally welcoming Ms. Rita Case. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
We are so glad you've braved this cold weather coming from South Florida, but you've spent a lot of time in Ohio as well. So let's start out by, how did you get here today, Rita?
Well, I'm a pilot, so I flew my own jet here. How do you like that?
She's in the transportation.
It's really great. It's really easy to get around when you're the pilot of your own jet, let me tell you. TSA is not a problem.
So you've been a pilot for a long time, too.
Yeah, since I was 16. Yep, my parents were pilots with a hobbyist, little Cessna, and I just worked my way over the years. It's been my hobby.
Seems like it's a theme that you've really been,
Oh. Okay, is that better? Sorry.
Yeah, so we were talking about, but really there's a theme of transportation. You're known for your auto dealerships, and at the same time, there's a transportation theme running through your entire life.
Well, we want to get around. That's freedom, right?
So how about if we had some questions submitted by our students, and they're really looking forward to learning from you. And this is a big question, but to get us started, what do you see as the major challenges in your industry today?
Well, the car business is something that we need in the United States because an automobile is freedom. It is truly your freedom.
as an individual to be able to get and go where you want. We're a free country, thank goodness. So an automobile is really a sign for that. The big challenges for the automobile industry now, I've been a car dealer I've ran car dealerships now for 50 years, 48 years. And we're selling a world car now. These cars are built with products from all over the world. So whether it's a Honda or whether it's a Ford, components are coming from around the world. The biggest challenge I see that our industry is facing is just simply that we are controlled by the world now. We all saw that with the chip shortage. We saw it with Ukraine and the wiring harnesses. We are now experiencing it again with the chips, with another one of the manufacturers being controlled by a foreign country. We've got the tariffs. That's affecting some manufacturers more than others. So I see our biggest challenge right now is stabilizing the sales price of an automobile. In 2019, just before COVID, the average sales price was only $37,000, not only, but it was $37,000. That was the average price of a new car, average. Now it's $50,000, and you kids aren't going to be able to afford a car, because with insurance and the price of the cars at $50,000, it's going to be very, very expensive. The average payment back in 2019 was more like $300 to $500. Now it's $500 to $800, and insurance on top of that. So our industry is under attack by the pricing, and that's coming from the fact that it's a world car. We have all these other reasons that's impacting manufacturing and the pricing. So I see that as being my biggest challenge, coming up with a car that's affordable.
And how are you addressing that challenge?
Well, we're doing our very best to try to understand that the administration and the world is impacting us. Like, I'm involved with, well, I've got my manufacturers, but one of them is Volkswagen, and the CEO would call me and ask me, what are we going to do, because we cannot produce a entry-level vehicle in the United States. And it's not just Volkswagen, but that's just the example I'm bringing up because they called me about it. And they said, we can't import a Jetta that we build in Mexico. We can't build that car in the United States and sell it at a price that makes it affordable, because it's expensive to manufacture in the United States, which is why the entry-level cars are built outside the United States. They're built in Canada. Honda, Toyota, they build their cars, their lower-priced cars, or their entry-level cars. Those models are all built in Canada, and they're built in Mexico. Just like Ford and Chevy, they do the same thing because they can be manufactured less outside the United States. So we have to figure that out. And I'm not saying I have the answer, but we have to figure out a way to manufacture here in the United States competitively in order to incentivize manufacturers to want to build the cars in the United States. And just putting tariffs on cars coming in, 15%, 10%, I mean, it's a moving target right now. We really haven't settled exactly what it is going to be, but that doesn't help the product be affordable to the consumers here in the United States. So the biggest challenge with the auto industry right now is figuring out, how do we build a car that's affordable? And it's a challenge. It's a world challenge. Now, we are the largest market for many of these manufacturers. They want to be in America. They want to sell their product in America. The Chinese with the BYD are now, you know, China can build 50 million cars a year. They are the largest manufacturer of automobiles in the world, and they did that in 10 years. And we've been manufacturing automobiles for 100 years in the United States. That's how quickly they've become the world manufacturer for automobiles. And they can only sell in China about 30 million cars. They sold 23 last year. They're going to keep ramping up to 30 million. And the rest of them they want to sell, around the world. So that's going to impact the manufacturers that are there now. And we're seeing it.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Absolutely.
Anybody else want to expand on that?
So, well, there's another question that is somewhat related that the students had for you is, what do you see as the future of your industry?
Well, I know one thing for sure, that no one's going to be walking. So we are going to need automobiles to get around. We're not going to be droning around anytime soon. I'm sure all that stuff's going to be invented, but it's not going to be for the masses. So an automobile is going to be the most logical way for people to get around, I believe, in even your lifetimes, for sure mine. So the future of our industry is even a bit under attack, the franchise system. There are some that believe that there shouldn't be car dealers, that it should be just you go on Amazon and buy a car. And that might be good for that initial, years worth of ownership. But after that, we need to have support for automobiles. We sell right now this year we'll sell about 16.5 million new cars, and 40 million used cars will transfer ownership here in the United States. So that's a lot of cars. I believe that the future of the automobile industry and the franchise system is secure. I want to believe that. I'm a franchise dealer. I'm building dealerships right now, so I believe in the model. And I believe that we'll always be selling automobiles in the United States. That's going to be the way we all get around. And I feel that the future of the automobile business is very solid. But the attack is on new car pricing. So, today, cars can last for 200,000-300,000 miles, and even more than that, if you just do the simple maintenance that it's needed. So why get a new car? There's not much more technology that you can put in a new car. It tells you when somebody's on the side of you. It tells you if there's somebody behind you. It stops for the person in front of you. It parks itself. It starts itself. It's got airbags everywhere. It's got Apple CarPlay. It's got all the connectivity. What else do we really need in a car that hasn't already been put in the car in the last 10 years? There isn't anything really that I can think of that is significant enough that would get you to want to buy a new car and double your payment. So what is going to happen is, and the cars last a lot longer. Before, like I said, I'm old. Before, you had your oil changed every 3,000 miles. That was like the way we got people back. Now it's 12,000 miles. It's 7,500 is very, very common. So the cars are going to last a lot. They are lasting a lot longer, and there's no need to get a new one. Just take care of it. Our service business for the last 3 years, every year has been a record over a record, which consistently is hard to do. But people are repairing their cars. They're not getting new ones. There's 1 million more people driving as youth, there's 1 million more added, and there's 1 million more older people that are driving. So every year, there's an increase of 1 million younger people added to the driving population, and 1 million people that normally would have turned in their driver's licenses are now driving. Older people are driving longer is what I'm trying to say. So that's keeping the market going. But our industry is going to be, the new car business is going to, I think, slow down.
Yeah. So shifting gears a little bit, so to speak, I also loved your book, Our Customers, Our Friends, and I know that as Dr. Becker mentioned, and Decker, I'm sorry, oh my goodness. And we have copies that you graciously provided for those of you who are in the audience, so you'll have a chance to read this. How did you choose, our students wanted to know, how did you choose the title? Because you have 22 lessons in the book, and you chose Our Customers, Our Friends as the title. It definitely says a lot about your philosophy.
Well, we, way back when Rick and I got married 45 years ago, we wanted to come up with a mission statement. Rick was a car salesman. Listen, he could sell ice to Eskimos. The guy could sell anything. And that's how he ended up with so many amazing marketing tools that allowed us to sell the cars that had never been sold in this country before. We were the first to introduce Isuzu, Mitsubishi, Daewoo, Smart Car, Kia, Hyundai, Acura. We've introduced them all as the very first dealer in the country.
Can we
It
just
takes
hit
a lot
the
of
pause
risk.
button there? Think about that. Think about those brands that she mentioned. They were the first to introduce those to the United States.
Right, we were the very first dealer, and we still have those dealerships. We don't have the Smart Car because it ended up leaving. We don't have, Isuzu is really a non-issue. Mitsubishi's also a non-issue.
But Kia, Acura.
But Kia and Acura were the number one dealer. But anyway, so when we got married, I was more of the operations person, and he was much more of the salesperson. I was fixed operations, parts and service. I did everything he didn't want to do because I was already a dealer in California when we got married. So I said, we need a company philosophy. You know, we need to tell our associates, what do we stand for? So we came up with our culture, which is our customers are our friends, our associates are our family, and our community is our home. So that was the way that we, spoke about ourselves in the community and amongst our associates. And when you think about it, if you treat your customers as you would your friend, so the way we explain it to our associates is, let's say your high school friend is coming in to get his Jetta serviced in the service department, and you're a service advisor. And John's coming in to get his car serviced. You're going to have that smile on your face. You're going to be waiting for him. You're going to make sure that that there's a time slot for his repair. You're going to make sure that he gets to the restaurant, that he gets coffee in the showroom, and you're going to be ready for him. You're going to be waiting for him because he says he's going to be there at 10 o'clock. Now, why don't you have that same attitude for someone that wasn't your high school friend, that wasn't your neighbor, that wasn't your brother, your sister, your mother? So that's how we would explain our culture to our associates. Treat every customer that you meet in any situation in the dealership or outside the dealership as if that person is your best friend. It's free. It doesn't cost any money to have that attitude. It's fun because you have a smile on your face. That's how your day goes. As a leader, remember, you bring the weather. You bring the weather. If you come cloudy and cold and windy, all your followers are going to be. If you come sunny and bright and calm, so will all your followers be. So it's the same concept about having a great attitude, about it's your friend coming in. So we named the book Our Customers Are Friends because we wanted all of our customers to know that we're an open book. And that is exactly, it's the history of the company, it's how we sell cars, it's how we grew the business to where it is today, and we want our customers to know and believe, because we do believe it is our culture, that our customers are our most important asset, second to our integrity, as the most important asset for our business.
Those go hand in hand too, don't they? Integrity and treating your customers that way. So our students also wanted to know about your approach to competition.
What competition? I ain't got no competition. That's why I'm number one. No, the thing about a franchise is everyone has the exact same product at the exact same, purchase at the exact same price. In the car business, you can't buy, AutoNation cannot buy a Honda or a Toyota or any brand cheaper than I can, or a single point dealer here in your town. It's by law. The manufacturer must sell the car at the same price no matter how many you buy. Now that's not the way it is in some industries. If you go buy, 500,000 gallons of paint for Sherwin-Williams, it probably get a better deal than if you're a single point store that's just buying a few hundred gallons. You get it? So our industry, the auto industry, we are a franchised business. So what differentiates me from the Honda dealer or the Hyundai dealer or the Acura dealer that's my neighboring dealership, another dealership in my market area. It's the dealer. It's the dealer that makes the difference. So our competitive edge, I believe our competitive edge is the fact that we are so respectful of our integrity and our work ethic that we always do what's right. And when you have always done what's right for all the years we've done right to our community by all the fundraising that I've done, to our associates by how we take care of all of them, and no one ever leaves Rick Case. And when they make that mistake, I always tell them when they're going to leave, I say, you won't be coming back, but you'll want to come back because we don't take people back. We try hard to keep them, but if they do decide that the grass is greener, which it never is, they always want to come back. But it's our integrity. And over the years, we've built such a trust in our community that people want to do business with us, and they'll do what they can to do business. That's why we're the largest volume Honda dealership in the world. But my market isn't the largest volume. Miami has 1 million more people. Los Angeles has a couple more million people. But we sell more than anyone in the United States. Same thing with our Volkswagen store. We're the largest volume in the world. And that's because people drive a long way to do business with us because they trust us. We've built their trust. So that's what I feel about competition. Now, it's the manufacturer's responsibility to help us be competitive against the other brands. So if the manufacturer isn't giving us the tools to be competitive, because really, today, not like 35 or 40 years ago, all cars are great. They're all safe. They've all got great styling. They all run well. So all cars are great. So it's very important that the manufacturer supports their dealers by giving us the pricing, the incentives, the lease payments that we can, advertise. Because someone is not going to buy a Civic for $100 more a month than they can buy a Hyundai or a Volkswagen or a Mazda or a Kia. Those are all, or a Ford, a Chrysler, they're all good cars. So we have to rely on the manufacturer to help us be competitive. But we've built a competitive edge, and it's taken us, 45 years to get the reputation that we have, but it can take, with social media, 5 minutes to ruin it. One of the things that we've done that's very risky is we named our business the same. Rick Case. Every dealership we have is Rick Case something. Rick Case Honda, Rick Case Mazda, Rick Case Audi. Many dealerships don't do that. It's Midland, I'm just making this up, I'm not sure, but let's say Midland, Honda, or Detroit, Ford, so that they're not tied to their brand. Because you are at risk today with social media, with one of your associates doing something. But we're willing to take that risk. That's how confident we are that our culture is to the core, and that everyone that works on our organization, we all have company uniforms, are proud to go to dinner. They don't change their shirt in the car, so before they get out to dinner saying, I don't want anybody to know I work for Rick Case. They're like, I work for Rick Case. I am so excited about being a part of the Rick Case family because of what we do for the community. One thing we did, another thing I always tell our associates, in the chip shortage, because I can't talk about the past, even though I've got a lot of stories about the past, but you guys were born then. But the most recent thing you guys have all experienced is the chip shortage 3 years ago, where the prices were through the roof, where the people were charging $10,000 over for a Telluride, or they were charging $5,000 over for a car because there was a shortage, supply and demand, all you economics majors, and we never charged over MSRP. Now, yes, we charged MSRP. We charged the window sticker, but we never charged over. People were calling us from all over to buy the cars that we had because we weren't charging over MSRP. We didn't sell it to them. We only sold it to our own community. We took care of our own community. But my managers and salespeople were screaming, Rita, please, everybody else is charging $5,000 more for these cars because there are none. They'll pay it. Rita, they'll pay it. And I'm like, guys, that's short-lived and long remembered. And that's always what I've felt in my heart, that it's short-lived and long remembered. Short-term gain, but it will be remembered. And now, 3 years later, those people that got paid way too much by those other dealers, they're coming back, and their payment on their car or their payoff on their car is $20,000 more than it's worth, because we're now back to normal. But our customers come back, and they remember we treated them right. We treated them with integrity. We did what we would have wanted them to do for us. And that's how we have a competitive edge.
Short-lived and long remembered. Thank you for that nugget. Our students also wonder what advice you have for somebody starting out in their career.
Starting out with a career? Well, this is probably a cliche, but start with a passion. And if you don't know what your passion is, experiment. Try different things until something will hit you. Now for me, my dad, that, like you were saying, was the first Honda dealer in the United States in 1959 when they sold the little nifty thrifty Honda 50. And then he got the first Honda franchise in the United States in 1968, because at the time they gave it only to the motorcycle dealers because they didn't have any other distribution. They didn't know anyone else in America but their Honda motorcycle dealers. Well, after they gave it to the motorcycle dealers and they realized motorcycle dealers didn't know how to sell cars, they prohibited motorcycle dealers from getting the car. So by the time it went to the Midwest, because they went state by state as they went east, it got to Rick Case in Akron, Ohio, who had built a bunch of motorcycle dealers to get the car, and they said, sorry, no cars for motorcycle dealers. So we had to work on that a different way, as you were saying. So I say it has to start with a passion. Find your passion, and then educate yourself. Educate yourself. One of the things that I'm asked a lot is how did a woman get, because I was a dealer before I met Rick, and I ran the dealerships, my parents' dealerships myself. I asked my parents to leave because they couldn't be there if I was there, because nobody would listen to me, because my dad was there. So it was like, they went to my dad, and I said, no, I'm the general manager. And they're like, you're just a dealer's daughter. Go do something else. Go do titles. Go do the accounting. I'm like, no, So I told my dad to leave, and he did, which helped me, because then I could really get control of the dealership. But I was in that business. So and I think that if your parents are, a restaurant, or your parents have a clothing store, your parents have a jewelry store, any sort of retail, and you like it, then get educated about that industry. Become very much an expert on it. I had to do that because I was a female in an all-male industry. I am literally the only woman in the room for years. And even today, there's just very, very few female car dealers. And so I had to be educated so that I had confidence. And education is what builds your confidence. It doesn't matter whether it's our female baseball team over here, if they want to win, they got to be educated as a team. They've got to work as a team. They've got to be great. They got to understand all of it. Same thing. You got to be the best in the room. So start with a passion, and then decide, how to educate yourself. That's what I continue to do. Must be another class, or must be dinner time.
I think there's a class they have to get to.
Oh, no, it doesn't bother me a bit. I'm just honored to be here, actually. It's my pleasure.
They wanted to get what they could, so thank you for your understanding of that.
Anybody that has a class, don't be late. Especially if it's Bill Bateman's class. He was my first banker 30 years ago. Then he became with Co-America Bank. Now he's an educator.
Small world, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So our students also wanted to know what you do to relax. Do you relax?
No, No, it's because I'm not working. I'm passionate about what I do, so I've never worked a day in my life. I wake up, I can't wait to get my feet on the ground. I know exactly what I'm going to do for the day. It's all planned out, like one of the chapters in the book. Start early, plan your day, and work your plan. And if you get interrupted, delegate. Because as soon as you get interrupted, you're off your plan, and it's not going to happen. So my business is my hobby. I've never gotten tired about challenged about every single year, every single month, every single week. Like right now with the Honda is having a really big problem with another chip shortage. And here I have the largest Honda dealership in the United States. There's 438 people that work in one dealership. My Honda dealership. All those people are sitting back going, okay, Rita, what are you going to do about this? And so every day it's a challenge. But it's fun because I'm passionate about what I do. That's what you have to do. You have to find that passion. But my hobbies, well, I like to fly, so I'm always looking for places to go. That's probably my hobby. And I do a lot of charity. It's really not charity as much as it is leadership in my community. I'm a leader in my community for most of the largest organizations that make an impact in our community, whether it's the hospital systems or whether it's American Heart Association, American Cancer, Habitat for Humanity, Boys and Girls Club. I am pretty much the leader of those organizations. When they need something, they come to me and I'm a problem solver. So that's my hobby. I like to be challenged with issues that other people can't solve, and I'll figure it out because I'm persistent. That's another chapter in our book. Persistence removes resistance. If you just never give up. Another chapter, don't take no for an answer. If you take no for an answer, failure is the path of least persistence. So continue to be persistent.
So now we have some time, and I know as we were preparing, Rita loves questions from the audience.
Oh.
So now we can shift
I like questions because I like to make sure that I'm doing what you guys were wanting from me. I came all this way just to try to be to do something to give to you, not just to speak to you, but to answer anything that you might have for me if I have the answer. I wanted to fulfill what your expectations were of your time with me. And I really appreciate how you all came for me. Or you had to because you were getting credits or something.
You're a big draw. That's why we're in our largest venue.
Go ahead. Anybody have a question?
I just wanted to ask.
We have a microphone.
I'll repeat your question.
Okay.
I'll repeat it. Go ahead. I can hear you. I'll repeat it.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, because you talked so much about, you were the only woman in the room. I wanted to know, how did you deal with, doubt? Have you ever doubted yourself when going into this industry? And how did you persevere forward?
Yeah, so how did I persevere when I had doubt? I have to be honest, I'm not bragging, I didn't have any doubt. I didn't have any doubt because I started 7 years old in there and worked my whole way up through every single grade, all the way up through school. And when it was time for college, my dad says, don't go to college, just stay here, I'll teach you everything I know. No one had been to college in my family. My brothers, my sister, my parents, and I was the third youngest. I said, well, if I stay here and only learn what you know, I'll never be a great female car dealer because I have to be better than you, Dad, for anybody to respect me and for me to make a contribution, a respected contribution. So I really never did. When I got out of college, I was only out of college one day when I told my dad, it's either you or me, Dad. You have to leave because no one's ever going to listen to me while you're here. And if you don't, I'm going to go work for VL Volkswagen across the street because I knew him and he was a great mentor of mine because he knew the car business my dad didn't. He was a motorcycle dealer. So I never doubted. I just kept forging ahead and figuring it out. That's how I met my husband. I went to NADA. I don't know if the car people here in the room would know what that is, National Auto Dealers Association. And I went to them that summer that I took over the dealership, and I said, this was 1976, I said, I want to start a 20 group for Honda dealers, because we weren't recognized as a franchise then. We really weren't. We were just, Honda was just a very small part of the automobile industry. And that's how I met my husband. Honda motorcycle and car dealers signed up, and that's where I met Rick, was at the first Honda 20 group. So I was always pushing forward to learn. I needed to learn the car business. And mentorship, I went to every dealer. Even now, people will tell you that I go to their dealership if they're doing something great. And I how did you do that? That's how you build confidence. You can't have an ego if you want to be great. You've got to be willing to go to people and say, how did you do that? I want to learn how to do that. You have to leave your ego at the door and seek out people that are doing what you want to do and have reached the level that you envision yourself. People often ask me, what would I do if I could go back to 20 years old or 21 when I graduated from college? The first thing I would have done would have been find people that were great car dealers and go learn from them. But I didn't. I was a bull in a china shop. I can figure this out, and I did. But if I could go back, I would always encourage all of you, go find someone who's doing exactly what you envision your goal to be, and just get them to mentor you. Ask them all the questions, constantly calling them. Because truly, your network is your net worth. If you've ever heard that one. Your network is your net worth. And you've got a network going on right here, your professors. You stick with them. You never stop learning when you graduate. And if you do, shame on you. You won't be the best you can be. Your potential. To lead, you got to read. I always tell people that too. First, you have to read if you want to lead. Because
And you read 2 hours a day, I think you
do.
mentioned?
I read a minimum. I read about the car business 2 hours a day. Because there's so much to read in order to be on top of everything, the EVs, the tariffs, the manufacturers that I'm with, my community, what's happening.
So I can imagine it's the automotive news, but what are some publications that you'd recommend to our
goodness.
students in the industry?
Oh, they're all online. If you go on, there's so many auto blogs. There's also European blogs. If you go on Google, I use Google a lot, Google Feed News. And if you start to ask Google for automotive articles about, like right now I'm searching out the Honda chip to see if that's been, it's supposedly going to get better here soon where they can get the chips again. It's just one company that supplies Honda. Anyway, then those blogs will start to come. But mainly I'm always reading on Google the different blogs. There's auto, there's Japanese news, there's fixed ops news, there's dealer news, there's Forbes has a lot of articles. There's so many articles on the auto industry. I'm not talking about specific auto publications. Like Automotive News is great. I mean, we all read that once every week. It's every Monday. But there's a lot of and there's a lot of podcasts too now.
Yeah.
I know I've done like 6 podcasts this year. There's the car guy. He is great. Go on, if you're in the cars here in the room, open up the car guy. He does something every single day. He has a podcast. He's really good.
It's such a lesson for us too, because you're at the top of the industry and you are insatiable in your learning.
Oh yeah. Well, you can't be the best if you don't stay ahead, because there's somebody right behind me wanting that #1 job, that #1. Every dealer in Miami wants to be the #1 Honda dealer, and I've got to be better.
So we have time for one more question. We have a couple from online. One is, what do you believe are the most important skills for young women to succeed today, or students in general?
Well, again, I want to start with education. I want to start with having a passion, because it's hard to succeed if you're just chasing what you think is the paycheck. Your treasures will come if you are in a field that you're passionate about, because that's the one you're going to be most motivated to educate yourself on and most motivated to take risks on. So yeah, that's what I would say. As far as women go, and I mentioned this earlier to a couple of the young ladies that were taking me on the wonderful tour, the campus is awesome, is dress for success. You know, if you're a woman in a male-dominated industry, obviously I can see here there's so many men out here. I'm speaking to the baseball stars over here and to some of the other women, but if you are in a male-dominated industry, you need to dress for respect, because that is critical. Education and dress for success.
Well, thank you. And unfortunately, I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of the wisdom that you could share. The book will be available outside in the reception, and Rita will be available to sign these as well.
Let me mention one thing about the book. We wrote the book for our 50th anniversary as a car dealer, but inside the book, oh, this one isn't, it might have fallen out. Oh, there it is. Inside the cover of each book, first of all, is my business card, which has my email on it, so I'm available to any of you if you ever need to, and my cell phone and stuff. But also, there's this card. It's my husband. He passed away 5 years ago, Rick Case. But on the back of it is a QR code. And if you scan this QR code with your computer or whatever method you guys want to use, there's a movie. And we took the book and we made a movie of his history to celebrate his. And it's amazing because we were able to go back and get his radio spots and his, you know, a lot of footage of him, and it's really quite, Jay Leno's on it, because Jay Leno and I were friends, so there's a lot of, it's really entertaining. I think you'll get a lot of lessons from it, because I know how difficult today it is to have time to read.
And we are so sorry for your loss, and he
I
lives
understand.
on, though. Rick
He
lives
does,
on,
he
doesn't
does,
he?
he absolutely does, yes, and I will always make sure that Rick Case is number one. You know, there's only one number one, don't forget that. You're number one, believe in yourself, you start with number one.
There's
But
only one
only
number one.
number one, so, you know, he always wanted to be number one, and you'll see if you watch the movie, it's only like 20 minutes, but it's really quite entertaining, a lot of lessons in there.
So, Rita, thank you for sharing your wisdom and keys to success this evening. Like I said, I think we only barely scratched the surface. Thank you for your generosity. And now we are going to wrap up with our student, Haley Dyer. She's from Flushing, Michigan. She's majoring in automotive marketing and management, and she'll share some of her key takeaways from today's fireside chat. She'll be okay. Welcome, Haley.
Thank you, Dr. Stehauer, and thank you, Ms. Case, for generously sharing your wisdom. As I prepare for my career, I have a number of valuable takeaways from this afternoon. So I actually wrote down a lot because I filled up multiple pages. This was great to hear from you. So my first takeaway, I want to say that I will always remember what you said about finding a career that you are passionate about. This is something very important to me because before Northwood, I did not know about cars, but I did know about people. And since I've got here, I've learned so much about the dealership world and the industry, and I found so much inspiration. I've learned about everything it comes down to in the dealership, but ultimately it comes down to people. And I think that's something you touched on a lot, and I am going to take that with me for my career. I have also learned that an automobile is freedom and the industry isn't going anywhere, so that is incredible to hear as, you know, someone who sits and learns so much about the industry in class every day, and there's so much uncertainty facing like EVs and all this new technology, all the tariffs, and I just think it's so great to have someone so powerful in the industry say that, you know, we are safe, we are not going anywhere because cars aren't going anywhere, and with cars, neither are dealers. So thank you again for allowing us all to benefit from your leadership insights. And Ms. Case, to commemorate your serving as guest for Northwood University's Leadership Insights, A View from the Helm, we have a gift to show your appreciation, or our appreciation, sorry.
Well, I'll just wrap up this way, everyone. First of all, thank you. We have members of the community here, faculty, staff, and colleagues. Thank you for taking the time. Our students, you never disappoint us. You've got lots going on in your life, and you understand the importance of coming to these events. So our gift to you is a little bit more time with Rita. There's a reception out in front. The books are there. If she would indulge you, maybe she'll sign some of those for you if they're not already signed. And have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much. And Rita, thank you.